What is going on, world? What's up, YouTube? It's Zero here. Today I'm bringing you guys a brand new episode of Horror Theory. Welcome everyone to Horror Theory, the best horror related show here on YouTube. And I'm super excited about our episode here today. We have a lot of stuff to talk about, so let's get into it. Silent Hill is back, guys, and I couldn't be more excited about it because not only did, Konami announce a single Silent Hill title, they announced a multitude of Silent Hill titles, which shows their commitment to this franchise when a lot of folks thought that, hey, maybe, just maybe, Silent Hill was in a limbo state or a state of no return. This franchise has proven to be such a juggernaut, and so many people across the globe love this iconic horror franchise. And I want to talk specifically in this segment of the show about Silent Hill F, the very intriguing title that is going to be coming out from Konami and within the Silent Hill universe. Let's talk about it. So guys, in an article coming to us from Wessel Mini of Gen X, Silent Hill F. So this is Konami, who unveiled several Silent Hill projects during its presentation on October 19, 2022, including a Silent Hill 2 remake and an entirely new game called Silent Hill F. Fans of the iconic horror franchise are intrigued by the T Silent Hill F game as it looks to bring a completely new story, and its dramatic trailer hit home. And I agree. I think that the trailer itself, wow, I mean, from a graphical perspective, I mean, the graphical fidelity of this game looks incredible, but we know that it's just a trailer. They haven't shown us too much at this point in time, but at least what we've seen, I am very intrigued to say the least. At the time of the writing, there is no release date or even a release year for the Silent Hill F game. It is unclear if this is a placeholder name and what the game's full name will turn out. However, we know that Konami has different developers on all the newly announced Silent Hill titles, therefore the games might not have to release years apart. So the studio that is making this game, guys, is Neobards Entertainment, and the studio co-developed Resident Evil Reverse, if the developer sounds familiar. If we had to make our best guesstimate, Silent Hill F's release date window shouldn't be earlier than October of 2024. So, there's a lot of people asking the question, what is Silent Hill F in terms of what does the F stand for in Silent Hill F? And for me, I've got a number of thoughts on this, but a lot of people in the horror community have considered this to be the F stands for flower or flowers, because they're showing off so many different this flower that's essentially overtaking, a town. It's overtaking this girl, the character within the trailer. And so a lot of people are thinking that it's it's going to be called Silent Hill Flowers or Flower. And for me, I believe it's just a code name. I don't believe that this is actually going to be what the title is called. I think it's just a code name. I think that they're taking a page out of Kojima's book where they're trying to mislead the community somewhat. They're trying to give people something to talk about with this title specifically, in terms of what that F really stands for. And so for me, I believe it's actually going to be called something completely different. I don't think it's going to be called Silent Hill F, but time will tell. In terms of the story and setting, guys, the chilling trailer shows streets and fields filled with fog, then focuses on a young woman. How much of Silent Hill F's story will focus on this young woman, or if she is merely a victim to set up suspense, remains to be seen. A mysterious red week overtakes the streets, and we see the plants begin to overtake her as well as she tries to flee. It doesn't end well for her. We know that the Silent Hill F story is entirely new and will play off in 1960s Japan, described as a beautiful yet horrifying world. Further, the famous Japanese visual novel creator Ryukishi 07 is writing the Silent Hill F story. Ryukishi 07 is best known for his work Higurashi When They Cry, which focuses on supernatural horror, mysteries, and psychological suspense. Kara is credited with the creature and character design. So what is the gameplay going to look like, guys? Well, there's no reason to believe that Silent Hill F will deviate from the franchise's survival horror gameplay. At the time of writing, no official gameplay details for Silent Hill F have been revealed. Konami made it clear that the footage shown in the reveal trailer was not actual gameplay footage. So that's kind of interesting because it's not actual gameplay footage. they're basically just giving you a teaser of what's to come. And for what it's worth, that teaser has got me very excited. I mean, even though it's not going to be actual gameplay footage, when we actually get the gameplay footage, I'm hoping that the visual fidelity and what the gameplay looks like looks as good as, if not better than what was shown in the trailer. So in terms of some news that we've gotten, guys, we haven't really gotten a lot, but apart from the Silent Hill F announcement news and who the developer is alongside who is writing the story, there has been no new news regarding the upcoming horror title. Further, no leaks surrounding the project have surfaced, which is really interesting to me because when you think about it, a lot of times these games, especially if they're not completely under wraps and just, really close to the vest, I would say that usually there's leaks that come out somehow or another, and maybe there will be leaks that come in the future. I love it though when there aren't leaks that happen, when the actual developer and publisher are able to release things on the timetable they want. From a creative perspective, someone who was, studied filmmaking in school, and I'm very much so obviously within this gaming universe, I think it's really awesome when the developers and publishers are able to release things when they want. In terms of the platforms, guys, well, one would hope gamers from all platforms, including PC, Xbox, Nintendo, and PlayStation, will experience the new Silent Hill game. That, however, might not be the case, as the Silent Hill 2 remake is a PlayStation 5 exclusive for 1 year and then will be available on PC as well. It is not out of the question that Silent Hill F could only launch on PS5. However, no launch platforms for Silent Hill F have been confirmed at the time of writing. And, this is a really interesting one. I feel that if Konami wants this to be, a globalized title, when it's only an Xbox or a PlayStation or a PC exclusive, obviously it's going to limit the amount of people that are playing the game. Now, obviously, guys, we look at games on PlayStation like Last of Us, God of War. I mean, so many people have played those games. They have millions upon millions of people playing those games. And so if you have it on just the PlayStation, or you have it on the flip side just on the Xbox, you're going to be able to tailor to that fan base. But at the same time, you're kind of missing out on a number of other copies, potentially millions of more copies that you could be selling in terms of being on PlayStation, on Xbox, or on PC. And so when you're well-versed, or you're well-diversified between all of those platforms, I just want this to be as big as possible because I want Silent Hill to continue long into the future. And so with that being said, guys, I would tell you that one of the things, the big things that I want out of this title are absolutely going to be, from a gameplay fidelity perspective, as well as, the graphics. I would love to see, even though the gameplay footage that was shown, or that footage that was shown, is not actual gameplay, according to Konami, I want the graphics to look just as good as, if not better than, what they showed off. I would love to see this be, the best standalone title that they can make. And then if it, creates multiple more titles around it, I would be absolutely all for it. But I just want them to crush this title because obviously one of the things that people are thinking in their minds is PT, the playable teaser for Silent Hills, which Hideo Kojima created, and it was incredible. Everybody wanted to see Silent Hills happen. Didn't happen. He breaks off and goes off to start his own company, that being Kojima Productions. And so we never got to see that title. So the bar, even though we never saw Silent Hills, the bar's been raised in a pretty massive way because of that teaser that came out from Kojima. And so I think that they have a responsibility, that being Konami, to really knock this thing out of the park so that we get a long withstanding, continued franchise for Silent Hill. But let me know, guys, what do you all think about Silent Hill F? I would love to have a real conversation about this in the comment section down below. Go down there, let's talk about it, and for more Silent Hill F content and videos, stay here with zrotv. Another Silent Hill title that is coming into the fray is Silent Hill Townfall. And even though Silent Hill F is, something that's I'm very intrigued by, there's something about Silent Hill Townfall, even though we know less and we saw less gameplay and less footage, I should say, for Townfall, this one's got me really excited as well. What the future of the Silent Hill franchise looks like is something that could be very special, guys. So I want to talk about the things that we know so far about Silent Hill Townfall. We can break it down, and I would love to hear your guys' thoughts about this in the comment section down below. So let's get into it. So guys, once again, coming to us in an article from Wessel Mini and Shane Musa of Gen X. Silent Hill Townfall. And first and foremost, before I even get into the article, I want to say this. You know, the graphic that came up for Silent Hill Townfall, is it just me, or was the F in Townfall the same font as Silent Hill F? I thought that was really, really fascinating, or it's kind of close. The Fs from Silent Hill F and the F from Townfall almost seem pretty similar. So that's kind of interesting. Is this somehow, are they connected within this world? Obviously, they're both Silent Hill, but is there some kind of connection there? That's going to be interesting. I'd love to hear your guys' thoughts about that in the comment section down below. So among the recently announced projects from the Silent Hill franchise, one of the most exciting ones would be the new title being developed by No Code, Silent Hill Townfall. While we don't have many details about the game, there's still much to glean from what we know. Obviously, guys, the release date is one thing that everybody wants to know about, but this is going to be something we are not probably going to get for a while, and here's why. The release date for Silent Hill Townfall is currently unknown. The developers No Code have stated that they will be gone for a while to work on the game, according to a recent tweet, implying that the game won't be seen for a while. The developers also mentioned that some signals might break through the static from time to time, so we can expect more details as time goes on. Thankfully, there is a strong possibility that the game could be released in 2024 or later, based on the active development of other titles such as Silent Hill 2's remake and Silent Hill Ascension. Now, what I will say, guys, about that is, most likely, in my mindset, because of the tweet that came from No Code, which reads, "We are thrilled to be contributing to the Silent Hill legacy with our game, and we can't wait to show you more. Until then, it's back to radio silence for us, although some signals might break through the static from time to time." So when I hear that kind of language being used in a tweet, even though it's just a tweet, I believe that means that No Code and Silent Hill Townfall is probably years away. I would say we're probably going to get something next year, that being 2024. Maybe we're going to get a new image of Townfall. We're going to get something like a little bit of a teaser, right? But I wouldn't anticipate seeing much more from this game until 2025 or 2026, and potentially a 2027 release date. Really depends on how far development is, but when you hear tweets like this, typically it's going to be something that's going to be, you know, potentially years away. The platforms, which obviously a lot of people are talking about this with Silent Hill F. People are now talking about this, obviously, with Silent Hill Townfall, and it makes a lot of sense. Well, at the time of the writing, we don't know what platforms Townfall will be available on, as everything we know about the game gives us no indication of technical details. But we can speculate on what platforms it may release on, though, as mentioned. So, based on previous games by the developer and published by Annapurna Interactive, we'd assume it'll be released on PC. We'll have to wait for more information to see if it'll also be available on new or old consoles, though this is likely considering where all game developers are heading with their newer titles. And I'll say, guys, I said this about Silent Hill F, and I'll say this again about Silent Hill Townfall. If you just release it on PC, sure, you know, you're going to get a lot of people that play the game, no matter what. I mean, because it's Silent Hill. But if you release it on consoles as well as on PC, it's going to expand that player base in a massive, massive way. And for me, I just want to see Silent Hill continue to grow. When you limit it to one platform, it's going to grow, and it could grow in a major way potentially. But if you release it on all the consoles, you know, it gives more and more players the opportunity to play this game. And I think that's the most important thing. So obviously, guys, in terms of the gameplay and things of that nature, we currently have no information about Silent Hill Townfall's gameplay and mechanics just yet. The developers over at No Code are known for more story-driven games with light puzzle-solving elements, so it's likely we'll see No Code sticking very close to their well-known formula. I agree with this for sure. Now, the game was teased in a very cryptic way through a teaser trailer recently, and sadly, there's no concrete information we can glean from it. Its teaser begins with a slow zoom-in on an old-school portable TV playing glimpses of disturbing visuals, including at least one moment where it shows a misty street that looks straight out of a classic Silent Hill game. As the trailer progresses, the imagery becomes more and more horrifying, with fleshy visuals and possibly gore being showcased. The trailer also includes some voiceover that says, "What brings you here? I've come to be punished." That's great. I like it. I believe we've done something so heinous that we're stuck here, being judged by these people. Obviously, guys, very cryptic, and I think this was very similar to Silent Hill F. It's a very cryptic kind of trailer. You don't really know much about everything. You just see like these flowers that are consuming an entire town, and then a girl, and then obviously the trailer from visually and graphically looks incredible. The same can be said here at Townfall, but we even got less here than we did in Silent Hill F, and so. Obviously, I think that, most likely what we can anticipate is this is going to be a true Silent Hill title from the perspective of, the gameplay and things of that nature is going to be probably pretty similar to previous Silent Hill games. This one may have more like cinematics and things of that nature, potentially because of Annapurna Interactive and what they've done. It'll be really interesting to say the least what ends up happening. I'll be sure to keep you guys all up to speed as more information comes out. Let me know though, guys, when do you think we're going to be seeing Silent Hill Townfall? When do you think we'll get our hands on it? What are you excited about? What are the things that you want? Let me know in the comment section down below, and let's have a real conversation about it. And for more Silent Hill Townfall content and videos, stay here with zrotv. A horror title that I'm really excited about that we're waiting to hear more and more information about is SLITTERHEAD. This is a title, guys, that is coming to us from a number of people who worked on the Silent Hill franchise, and I want to talk about the things that we know at this point in time, and I'm going to continue updating you guys and create a lot of SLITTERHEAD content in the future. So let's talk about it. So guys, in an article coming to us from Joe Donnelly of Games Radar, when SLITTERHEAD was announced in December of 2021, it immediately leapt onto our list of most anticipated upcoming horror games. Led by Silent Hill creator Kichiro Toyama, the Scare 'em Up marks the first game from Boca Game Studio and already looks as terrifying as you might expect. As detailed below, the SLITTERHEAD reveal trailer showed a city being swept by some ungodly parasites that appear to violently take over their hosts. And in the game's latest slice of early in-development footage, we get a short glimpse at how its combat will function, seemingly balancing action and magical powers in tandem. So I would say, guys, in terms of the release date, even though it says a tentative 2023 release date, I would say it's definitely at the earliest going to be in 2024. But while there's nothing concrete regarding a SLITTERHEAD release date for now, Boca Game Studio head Kichiro Toyama said the developer's first project would release in 2023 for PC in an interview held prior to SLITTERHEAD's reveal. Within that interview, Boca says it's keen to bring SLITTERHEAD to as many console platforms as possible, so Xbox Series X and PS5 versions of the game at the very least seem likely. Given how early in development the latest slice of gameplay footage looks, however, whether or not SLITTERHEAD makes it this year remains to be seen. So in terms of the trailer, guys, the SLITTERHEAD trailer that aired at the Game Awards teases a little of what we can expect from Boca Game Studio's first project and leads with Kichiro Toyama's horror credentials. A caption reads, "In 1999, Kichiro Toyama chose horror as the genre for his first directorial work. Silent Hill was released to the world. In 2020, he went independent and founded Boca Game Studio, and he came back to face a new challenge in horror. With that, this new challenge in horror depicts grotesque shape-shifting monsters, the dismemberment of bewildered civilians and police officers alike, and a ninja-aping, motorcycle helmet-wearing, sword-wielding chap who goes to town to the ethereal beings who may or may not be the game's protagonists." So, obviously what we've been shown, guys, so far, I'm really, really excited about. We even, though, got some newer footage about how the gameplay and what it's going to look like. Well, published on July 6, 2023, this dev diary explores the QA process behind the scenes at Boca Studio before teasing a small section of early in-game combat. Unfolding in unrendered testing rooms, the playable character can be seen battling shambling humanoids whose heads have been overtaken by parasites. The player uses a mix of red magic, Vega-like claws, swords, and what looks like a sawn-off shotgun at one point to take down their aggressors, one of which takes the form of a giant multi-tendrilled monster. Towards the gameplay footage's end, there's a playable dog, which is also pretty cool. In terms of the story as well as the gameplay, and really quick before I even get to that, guys, the dev diary that came out, I still feel though that even though when this was released, it seems that the game, it's progressing, but I still think that's why I just don't think 2023 makes sense. It still seems like there's a number of things that they've got to work on. Now, in terms of the story, guys, as well as gameplay, again, with such a short burst of cinematic footage, it's hard to say exactly what shape Slitterhead will take in gameplay terms come final release. The Silent Hill and Siren series have both historically adopted third-person perspectives. However, horror heavyweight Resident Evil has recently pivoted to first-person fare in Resident Evil 7 and Resident Evil Village. In the Slitterhead trailer itself, we see a man seemingly caught off guard by a woman overcome by parasites, and are later shown police scrambling around the streets reacting to a pretty gruesome active crime scene, all of which suggests things turn pretty bad pretty quickly in game. The Slitterhead trailer ends with an older woman standing on a veranda who's clearly been infected by the parasites we've seen earlier. In a flash, her creature-like head, scales, tentacle, tongue, and all retracts, folding neatly back into place to reform her otherwise normal human face, which may mean shapeshifters play a part in Slitterhead as well. So, look, bottom line is this, guys. Slitterhead, it's coming, right? And we've seen from the dev diary, it's coming along. I still think that we're going to have to wait a while. It could be 2024. I would even say it could be 2025 until we actually get our hands on it. I mean, the big thing is that I want these guys to take their time making the game, though. I want it to be the best possible experience that it can be. And I know that sometimes, even whether it's an independent studio or a AAA studio, they want to push the game out to get it out to the world so that they can start bringing in money. But at the same time, you don't want there to be a bunch of bugs, glitches. You want it to be a very well-polished, ready-to-go title so that when we dive in and we start playing it, we come back to the experience over and over again because of how great it is. And so with Slitterhead, I'm super excited about it. I'm all on board with it. I cannot wait for this game to come out. I'll be sure to give you guys more information as it comes out. Let me know though, guys, in the comment section down below, what are you most excited about with Slitterhead? What are the things and what are the consoles and, which platforms do you think they're going to be releasing it on? Let's have a real conversation about it in that comment section down below. And for more Slitterhead, keep it here with zrotv. A question I've been asking myself for quite some time now is, State of Decay 3, this being a title that, got announced, and it was announced years ago, and we haven't gotten any further real news or indication of exactly what's going on behind the scenes over, in terms of development and things of that nature. I wanted to talk about, from what we know so far about State of Decay 3, is this a game that is going to be competing against The Last of Us? And I know this seems probably very bizarre to a number of you because, the first State of Decay game and then even the second one, they obviously are designed in a certain way and it's completely different from, The Last of Us. Two completely different, style games. The Last of Us, I believe, is one of the greatest, games ever made, and for sure is the greatest PlayStation exclusive I've ever played. It overtopped Uncharted for me, another Naughty Dog game, but I really wanted to talk, though, about this comparison from State of Decay 3 and The Last of Us, and I wanted to get your guys' thoughts about it in the comment section down below. So let's talk about it. So obviously, guys, from that initial trailer, the teaser trailer we got for State of Decay 3, I got a lot of Last of Us vibes from it. From you seeing the zombie deer to from a graphical fidelity perspective, all of those things, it just feels like State of Decay and the folks over at Undead Labs and Microsoft are trying to raise the bar on this franchise. Now, I could be totally wrong that it's not trying to be the Last of Us killer. It's not trying to compete against The Last of Us. But from that trailer, I've been pounding this table, stating that this game looks like it's trying to compete with The Last of Us. And the reason being, The Last of Us being a PlayStation exclusive, and as large and as, popular as The Last of Us franchise is, Xbox is probably thinking to themselves, well, we want to have something that's going to compete against The Last of Us, something that our version of The Last of Us. What could that be? Could it be State of Decay 3? And I think that at least what we've seen so far from State of Decay 3, the indications for me are telling me that Xbox is taking an aggressive approach to create a game that's going to compete against The Last of Us. And it's interesting because if they were to do this with State of Decay 3, they would be going very far away, in my personal opinion, away from what State of Decay really is. I mean, obviously, when we talk about the comparisons with these games, yes, basically a zombie apocalypse, things of that nature. But, the games are just fundamentally different in a number of ways. But could they start changing some of those mechanics, the gameplay, the story, and things of that nature slowly but surely with State of Decay and this franchise, making it more dark, more gritty, more all of those things to compete against The Last of Us and really get us to buy into the characters, to buy into the story, the setting, the legacy, all of those things. And I think it is absolutely a possibility. I'm not going to say it's for sure going to happen because no one knows, but I would just wanted to put it out there that State of Decay 3, in my mind, at least right now, until we see further gameplay and things of that nature, I believe it is trying to, that being Xbox and Undead Labs, they want to create something that's going to compete against The Last of Us. They want to have a game that is like The Last of Us, exclusive to Xbox. And I'm all for it because guess what? Competition breeds greatness, in my personal opinion. When I say that, what I'm saying is that when there's more and more competition that comes into the fray, it raises the bar for the next games that come up, typically from those development studios. For example, Call of Duty has been the biggest game in the world year over year for so long. But there are other games now that are coming out that are trying to compete against Call of Duty and just that, the player base and all of those things. Games like X Defiant. Obviously, CSGO is absolutely like just a juggernaut, right? Valorant is huge. But obviously, games like CSGO 2 are coming out. You've got, X Defiant coming out. You've got all these different games that are now trying to really compete against Call of Duty. And so what that's going to do behind the scenes over at Infinity Ward, Sledgehammer, Treyarch, Activision, they're going to continue needing to raise the bar to create a fantastic experience for players, whether it's from a campaign perspective, multiplayer perspective, co-op perspective. They have to continue now to raise the bar because they set a standard and now others are trying to meet that standard. They need to stay ahead. And so I think that having competition is a great thing. If State of Decay 3 does end up being a competitor to The Last of Us, whenever we get The Last of Us Part 3, which I do believe is going to happen, we've been creating a lot of Last of Us content. You guys can check out all of that here on the YouTube channel. But when The Last of Us Part 3 comes out, you can imagine that, Naughty Dog is going to be feeling we need to raise the bar again, because if State of Decay 3 gets announced a number of years ago and we've been waiting and waiting and waiting, and then they release something really special, they've been in the lab over at Undead Labs creating something really special that's going to be a competitor to The Last of Us, it is absolutely, in my personal opinion, going to be a very good thing for The Last of Us in terms of having, good competition, and then, they end up coming out with The Last of Us Part 3, and it could be something absolutely incredible. I think that is something that is very possible. I'm not going to say it's for sure going to happen. Could be a long shot. It's hard to say, but I would love to hear your guys' thoughts about this in the comment section down below. Is State of Decay 3 going to be a competitor to The Last of Us? Let me know what you guys think in the comment section down below. And for more State of Decay 3 content and videos, stay here with zrotv. A game that never got a continuation, but something that I would have absolutely loved and still would love to see a continuation of, is The Darkness, in the form of The Darkness 3. Why is this a game that never happened, guys? And I just feel that when we look back and you go back to this, classic franchise, that being The Darkness. What a special FPS title. I mean, it was an incredible title, had a great rich story to it as well. It was a absolutely awesome time. And I want to talk about, in this segment of the show, could we ever see The Darkness 3 ever come to the fray at some point or another? Let's talk about it. So guys, in an article that's coming to us from Josh West of Games Radar, looking back at it a decade later, it's shocking that The Darkness 2 never received a sequel. With its violent action, volatile hero, and visceral framing, developer Digital Extremes was able to deliver a faithful adaptation of Top Cow's beloved comic book series and a shooter that found good distance between its peers. Where Borderlands 2, Call of Duty Black Ops 2, Far Cry 3, and Halo 4 would all release in 2012 with an ambition to push the FPS genre forward in one way or another, it always felt as if The Darkness 2 was most concerned with us having just a good time. It's a great shame the blood-soaked party didn't continue in The Darkness 3 and beyond. According to Sheldon Carter, game director of The Darkness 2 and now chief operating officer at Digital Extremes, the studio did have plans to drag Jackie Estacado out of the depths of hell, although his fate was ultimately sealed. A few of us at Digital Extremes started a pitch document for The Darkness 3, and we even got a very small prototype started, but unfortunately, it never moved forward. I like to imagine a parallel universe where it was the biggest game ever made. And like I said, the big thing for me is that this is a game that, or I should say a franchise, that should have at least had a trilogy, bottom line. I think having just 2 games, it's such a tease to the fan base, and why it didn't get continued is another story. Maybe it was because there were all these other FPS titles and all of them were competing against one another, and The Darkness didn't meet the expectations, that being from a sales perspective, from a reception perspective. I mean, looking back on it now, it's considered a cult classic, that being The Darkness as just a franchise. And so a continuation to me makes complete sense. I think that they could definitely bring Jackie back and, in a massive way, and could make something absolutely incredible. But the bottom line is this, guys. We as the community have to voice our opinion to the developers, to the publishers. We need to go to Digital Extremes, whether it's on Reddit, whether it's on social media, and say, hey, we want another Darkness game made. And you wouldn't believe our voice can go a lot further than you might think. Think of Dead Space. Dead Space was in a limbo state, or a state of no return after Dead Space 3. And, obviously the reception around it, the sales, it was not, nearly as good as the first 2. And so there was a lot of question marks whether Dead Space would ever come back. But guess what we got? We got a Dead Space remake, and it has brought Dead Space back in a major way. I think they're going to greenlight a number of games now in the future in the Dead Space universe. So could The Darkness get a remake made? That's all we need, is just get a remake made. And then when you have the new generation of people playing this game, realizing how incredible it is and how unique it is as an FPS, then we can maybe get a Darkness 3 and could be something absolutely special. But I would love to hear your guys' thoughts about this. Could we ever get a Darkness 3? Let me know. Let's have a real conversation about it. And for more The Darkness 3 content and videos, keep it here with zrotv. So The Day Before is an up-and-coming title that was, at the time, one of the most wishlisted games on Steam. And I want to talk about this title, guys, because there's been a lot of talk that this is a game that's been in development hell, that it's had a lot of, transitioning and a lot of, it's gone through a lot of different hands over at the development studio Fantastic. And I wanted to talk about this and give you guys my thoughts on it. And I'd love to hear yours in the comment section down below. So let's get into it. So guys, the first and foremost thing here is, when is The Day Before going to release? Well, it was pushed back from March 1st of 2023 to now November 10th of 2023. So it's still coming later this year, which is awesome. Hopefully there's no more delays at this point in time. But it's obviously an open world survival title. And, I think that we can definitely take a few things here, because a lot of the delays seem to be linked to a trademark dispute where the trademark for the day before, which is kind of crazy that this was not trademarked beforehand. Obviously we don't have all the details on it, but apparently there was a private individual who filled out an application for a trademark on the day before Fantastic was able to file that same trademark. And so they've been in this dispute according to a number of sources, and that's what's really given a lot of delays to the title actually coming out. Now, the good news, though, is that it's still planned to come out November 10th. But that does lead us to, was there a number of issues behind the scenes? And there have been reports that there were a number of issues, that this was in a development hell cycle, that there were a lot of disagreements from a creative perspective behind the scenes. A lot of these things, guys, are, to me, even though when you start hearing it, it becomes concerning, because obviously what I've seen from the day before, it looks incredible. I am so excited about this game, and we're going to be getting a beta also before November 10th of the title. And so I'm excited to see kind of what they've been able to cook up over at Fantastic to create this just open world survival horror game. Man, it just looks like it could be something really, really special. And so I really am hoping that they're able to drive it home, because I've made a lot of day before content here on the YouTube channel. You guys can check out all of my the day before content right here at zrotv. But I think that the bottom line comes down to, the good news is that this game's coming out November 10th. It seems like they're still sticking to that release date. We're going to be getting a beta before that, so we're going to be hearing more and more as time goes. But the trademark dispute and all of those things, I'm assuming that those things have been handled behind the scenes, especially because they're sticking to this November 10th release date, at least for now. So the hope is that we are able to get our hands on this title in November, and that, Fantastic just, continues to service the game. Hopefully it doesn't come out with a bunch of, bugs and glitches and things of that nature. And I believe that they're going to be on top of it if those are things that do arise when the game releases. But, my excitement for the game, it was at an all-time high, obviously, with the trademark disputes and, them having to delay the game. Your level of concern goes up slightly, but I'm still I am overly optimistic about this, thinking that this could be the next open world survival horror game of our time. And so I'm really hoping that they're able to just crush this thing and do an incredible job. And I can't wait to play it. And I'm sure a lot of you are as well. And I would love to hear your guys' thoughts about this in the comment section down below. What do you guys think about the day before, the things that are going on behind the scenes? Are you concerned about it? Are you still super excited about it? Let me know what you guys think. And for more the day before content and videos, stay here with zrotv. With the release of the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, this being a game, guys, that, a lot of people are, enjoying in a pretty major way when it first released, gives you those vibes, of course, of like Dead by Daylight and games like this, where you're either one of the victims or you're one of the villains that's trying to hunt down the people within the home. And it's a very interesting concept, this being a Texas Chainsaw Massacre, style game. And like I said, it really, really fascinating. And I think the game is actually quite fun. But even though I've seen all of the Texas Chainsaw Massacre movies, I would love to see a campaign here for this game. And at this point in time, it is only a multiplayer experience. There is no campaign to be seen, and it does not sound like it really will be coming at any time in the foreseeable future. And the reason for this is probably because they've made so many Texas Chainsaw Massacre movies, so they probably felt that a campaign didn't make a lot of sense because so many people already know the story. But I just feel that to, have a story mode within this, and you could have a multitude of different ways to kind of spin the story, where it's still, of course, real events, but you're also, able to do it from a player perspective, actually being able to play the story out, I think would be very, very fascinating. And having the multiplayer is great, because guess what? Multiplayer modes, guys, are going to bring you back to the experience over and over again. But a single player story or a co-op story is going to really immerse you into the world. I always feel that, having the full package is what really makes a AAA title. Having, a single player story, co-op modes, and then multiplayer modes where, you come back to the experience over and over again. You play that single player story, you learn about the mechanics, how the game works, you learn about the legacy, the lore, all of those things. And then you can play with your friends, whether it's in a campaign perspective, or you can go up against other people across the globe in a multiplayer perspective. And it brings you back to that experience over and over again. So will the Texas Chainsaw Massacre ever have a campaign? Really, guys, the short answer to that, because they've made so many, movies around this franchise, I believe that there's a really good chance that we will not see a campaign come out for the Texas Chainsaw Massacre. That being said, though, I think that we as the community, our voice, means a lot more than you might think. And I think that if enough people want to see a Texas Chainsaw Massacre campaign come out, the developers may very well start considering it, but they want to obviously hear enough from the community that those are the things that they want. And obviously with this being a multiplayer experience, I think it's awesome, by the way, that they created a multiplayer experience and prioritize that over a single player story, at least right here, right now. Because if you were to say, you can have one of two things. You can have a multiplayer experience for the Texas Chainsaw Massacre or a campaign mode. And I would say for sure multiplayer, because we've seen the story over and over again from a movie perspective. And so having the multiplayer, I think, is awesome. But having the campaign that can really build upon what they're trying to do, especially if they ever decided, to create another Texas Chainsaw Massacre game, it can definitely help with building that legacy, building that lore and story of this, beloved franchise. But let me know, guys, do you think they'll ever make a Texas Chainsaw Massacre campaign for the game? Let me know what you guys think in the comment section down below. Let's have a conversation about it. And for more of the Texas Chainsaw Massacre content and videos, stay here with zrotv. One of my most anticipated games of the future is Killing Floor 3. This is a game, guys, that is coming out. I am incredibly excited about it because I had not even heard of this franchise until the third game comes out with an announcement. Reminds me a lot of Gears of War, from the creature designs to Doom in terms of combat and gameplay. This game looks incredible. But one of the things that I want to talk about in this segment of the show about Killing Floor 3 is just how its approach and how it looks like it is going to be a direct competitor to games like Left 4 Dead, Back 4 Blood, Doom, and others. Let's talk about it. So, guys, with Killing Floor 3, from a graphics perspective, the graphics look phenomenal. I cannot wait to see exactly what this entire, story has to tell us, and, what they're trying to do over there. And, in terms of competing against games like Left 4 Dead and Back 4 Blood, I've said this a multitude of times. Valve as a company has become very, very complacent with a number of their franchises. Left 4 Dead certainly being one of them. Everyone wanted to see a continuation of the Left 4 Dead franchise. They didn't do it. They were kind of just, putting it on the back burner, didn't listen to the community. And then all of a sudden, some of those guys from Valve move over to Turtle Rock Studios and they make Back 4 Blood. And I really enjoyed Back 4 Blood. Obviously there's pros and cons to any game. And I think that it certainly has, it definitely a lot of things that, you can reminisce about from Left 4 Dead. And I think they did a number of things really well. I think there's other things that they didn't do so well that Left 4 Dead did better, but I thought that they're right there in front of you is a direct competitor to Left 4 Dead. And then now with Killing Floor 3 coming into the fray, I would say that this is certainly going to be a very big competitor to the likes of Left 4 Dead and Back 4 Blood. I also think, like I said, with Doom, Doom has been a franchise that's been going on now for years, and absolutely, just a juggernaut and a classic franchise, to say the least. So many people love that franchise. And, you know, I think that once again, this game is directly competing with those titles. And it's interesting because someone like me who never heard of the Killing Floor franchise all of a sudden is now hearing about it. I think that there's probably a number of people who are brand new to hearing about this franchise as well. And so as time goes, could Killing Floor 3 be the biggest, you know, Killing Floor that has ever come out in the franchise's history? I absolutely think that is the case, that this is going to be a huge game for Tripwire and the folks over there. I think that this is absolutely going to compete against the big juggernauts in this space. And could it, you know, tell an even cooler story? Could it, you know, be something that is really, really special for years upon years to come? I think there's a very good possibility of that. But time will tell. We'll have to wait till we get our hands on the game, and I'll be sure to give you guys more Killing Floor content on the YouTube channel. Let me know what you guys think, though. Is Killing Floor 3 going to be, you know, the competition for Left 4 Dead, for Back 4 Blood, for Doom, and games like this? Is this going to, you know, rise to the top in terms of one of, you know, the top games in this genre moving forward? Let me know what you guys think in the comment section down below. And for more Killing Floor 3 content and videos, stay here with zrotv. I've said it a number of times on my YouTube channel. Routine is one of my most anticipated horror games of the future. And I want to talk about where is this title at this point in time, because, you know, all indication is telling us that this game is still in development, it's still coming, but it seems like, I mean, this has been a game that, you know, was announced over a decade ago, and we're still waiting for this game to release, get a release date and things of that nature. So I want to talk about Routine. When can we expect this game? Where is this game? And I'd love to hear your guys' thoughts about it in the comment section down below. So let's talk about it. So guys, Routine, this is an upcoming horror game that looks incredible. It gives me a lot of those Dead Space vibes, the Callisto Protocol vibes, Negative Atmosphere, Quantum Error, a number of games that it reminds me of. And I love that Dead Space is getting this type of competition, from Callisto Protocol to Quantum Error to Negative Atmosphere. All of these games, you know, competing against Dead Space is good for the scene, because it's going to make all these studios really raise the bar and raise their game when it comes to, from a graphical fidelity to the story to setting. All of those different things are very, very important. And with Routine, it's no different. I think that obviously this has been a game that's been in development for a very long time. And we, you know, obviously have been waiting and waiting and waiting to hear more about it. When is this game coming out? Well, first and foremost, in order to, you know, really answer that question, we have to ask, you know, where is the game? Because we really haven't heard much, you know, this year in 2023. In my mind, guys, this is still actively in development. Is there some issues behind the scenes? And I believe that there were definitely some issues at some point or another when we talk about a game that was announced, you know, a decade ago, and we've been waiting to hear more information for so long about this title. I think that Routine is a game that obviously could have been suffering from, you know, not being able to get enough funding for the title. They were maybe having some creative differences behind the scenes. Is it in a development hell? It's really hard to say because we don't know. Was it creative differences? Is it, you know, they were having issues getting funding for the game? That's what's very difficult about it. Now, when is the game coming out? Well, I believe, guys, that we're going to be hearing more about Routine in 2024. I believe we're certainly going to get another trailer. We're going to be hearing more information about the active development of Routine. It very well may come out in late 2024. I think it's probably more reasonable to expect, depending on where they are in development, it to come out in 2025. And so that's when I think the game is actually going to probably release to the world. And that's what I'm very excited about. I'm really excited to see this game come out. And I'm okay with Lunar taking their time on this title. I always say this on the YouTube channel about any new IPs, any continuations of existing franchises, that it's very, very important to take your time, especially when it's like the very, beginning of a franchise, the first initial game, that you take your time. Don't release it too early. Make sure that everything's polished, that everything's ready to go, so when the game releases, we can enjoy it. We can see the hard work that's happened for over a decade. It's taken for this game to come out. Take your time. Make this the best possible experience possible. I'm totally fine with waiting, even if it's a year, 2 years, 3 years, however long it is until we get this game. I'm okay to wait for it, because I believe that if you create something really special here with Routine, we're going to get a very long withstanding franchise. But let me know, guys, in the comment section down below, where do you think Routine is at this point? Are there issues behind the scenes in your mind? Do you think that they're just taking their time? They're going to release things in 2024 or maybe even in late 2023? When do you think the game's going to come out? Let me know in the comment section down below. And for more Routine content and videos, stay here with zrotv. And with that being said, everyone, I hope you guys did enjoy this episode of Horror Theory. And if you guys did, leave a thumbs up, subscribe if you're new, stay positive, and as always, I'll talk to you guys all in the next one. Peace.